Dick Betts. Welcome to another edition of This Week in the Villages. I have a very special guest this week, somebody who I now call friend, that was a client, and that happens a lot. And Gigi is originally from California. I spoke with her many times before she ever stepped foot in the Villages, and I just wanted to have her on today to share her story about how she found the place and how that whole process went until she finally bought a home. So Gigi, welcome.
Thank you.
You're on.
So originally, my husband and I were talking about looking for places we could retire that were more affordable than California. But my husband said he wanted a place where he could golf, and I said, well, I want a place where I can drive a golf cart everywhere I need to go. I thought that would just be fun, and no snow. So we started looking at places in Arizona and Florida just for fun on the weekends. So it became kind of a Saturday afternoon thing that we would do together. And when we were looking at different places, one of the things I wanted was a large area so that we did have access to the grocery store, to doctors, lots of friends potentially. And I'd found the Villages online. And when I found the Villages online, as any of you that have been online on the Villages website, at the very bottom it says, for a lifestyle visit, $99 a night. So I just said to my husband, you want to take a trip to Florida? It's only $99 a night. And he said, sure. So I had started talking with Dick Betts because I wanted to find out much more information about the Villages than you can see just on their website. And of course, Dick writes all of these articles. Any of you that know Dick knows that he is the information master when it comes to the Villages. It's true. So we had exchanged phone numbers. I would call him with random questions. And at the time, I wasn't even a client or thinking about moving right that very moment. But he was such a great source of information and a very fun guy. So we came to the Villages. We told Dick that we were coming. And after we arrived, first of all, right when we drove on the property, I looked at my husband and said, we need to go home and sell our house and move here right now. And he agreed with me. And so Dick picked us up, and he knew we weren't buying a house right away, but he still spent the whole day with us, took us to a lot of fun places.
And how I got to really know them, I picked them up at Lake Sumter, and it was close to lunchtime, and I said, you guys, you want to do lunch? And sure. So we come up to Terra del Sol. We sat outside, and on the table was a special bourbon drink. I didn't have one, but Steve did. So I knew it was going to be a fun day.
And it was a really fun day. So since we weren't in the market to buy a house right this very moment, we didn't want to bother any real estate agents for setting up showings. So Dick decided to take us around to some of his listings that he had that were empty, so that we could get an idea of different models and different areas. We knew right away that we wanted to be close to a square and that we didn't want to be down below 466A. So that made it a little bit easier. And we basically would see a couple houses and stop at a country club.
Yeah, stop at Kane. Go see a couple more houses. Stop at Havana.
Have a little champagne.
Maybe.
So we ended up spending the whole day together and genuinely just became friends in that moment. So we got home. It was November when we came here. We knew that wasn't an ideal time to sell our house. So we decided to put our house on the market in February. And basically we just kept looking almost every day, Zillow, just to see what's available. Dick would send us new listings when it was something he thought we would be interested in, because we were very specific about what we wanted. And it was a fun adventure. But I will tell you, after being in the Villages for our lifestyle visit and then going back to California, you get mad. You get mad at the gas prices. You get mad at the tax on everything. You get mad at how unfriendly people are compared to here. And we could just hardly wait to get back here.
So you decided to come back. You purchased a home, and now you're a villager. How has that transition gone from being, a new person to where you are today?
It was incredibly easy, but we also put in a lot of work to make it happen. So basically what I said was, since we knew we didn't have any jobs, we just moved. We quit everything and moved here. I said, we'll find jobs. I'm not worried about that. So we came here. I said, I want to get the house put together because obviously we didn't bring all our furniture and decor and stuff. So we took us about, I would say, a little over a month while we're job seeking and putting the house together and kind of getting settled. Then we located different groups via Facebook for people our age or people with similar interests. And we just said, we're going to say yes to absolutely everything that we get invited to or any event that's going on so that we can meet people.
Matter of fact, their first village party was here.
Most likely.
Remember? It was the longest day of the year party.
Yes, it was.
And you had just gotten settled in, and I invited you out to meet some people.
Yes,
so
it was.
I was her first village party.
Aw.
So,
And Dick gives a great party, let me tell you. So anyway, we joined up with a few groups and we monitored their events, and we just made it our mission to say yes to everything until we met our people. And honestly, I would say within 2 or 3 weeks, we had a giant group of friends that has just gotten closer and closer the longer we've been here over the last year.
any regrets?
I have the same regret everyone does when they move to the villages,
Not soon enough?
that we didn't move here sooner. But honestly, I don't think we were ready. I'm just 55 years old now.
Really? You're that old?
And it's just wonderful. Ironically, my daughter, who is 28, and her fiance are 25, said, we want to get out of California too, and we're coming with you. So I think we had it a little bit easier adjusting because we had our family with us. Not our whole family, but there were 4 of us, and so we just started going out, visiting different squares, figuring out what we like and what the villages had to offer for us in particular. And I mean, we have to remind ourselves that we're not on vacation every day, because it's really easy living here to feel like you're on vacation every day, and we still have to go to work. We still have to get up the next morning at a reasonable time. So there's a little adjustment there.
There is. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story today. And again, I ask if any of the social clubs, like Gigi said, that's how she met people really quick. There's great clubs in here. If you are a member of a club, talk to your president so maybe we can set up an interview. I would love to be able to share more stories about the lifestyle of the villages, because that is why you came. The lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Is what you wanted.
Now,
So,
a friend of mine actually is talking about looking for a house. She's renting here right now. Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. I've definitely recommended you. But she's just now getting used to the idea of purchasing a house as opposed to renting. And she had a huge house where she came from in Kansas. It was over 5,000 square feet.
Wow.
And obviously there's a price difference between Florida and Kansas. And she tells her husband all the time, it almost doesn't matter what house we buy. We didn't move here for the house.
That's right.
We moved here for the lifestyle.
That's it. It's
In
not-
my situation, we found a fantastic house that I like better than any house that I've ever lived in. And, you know, coming from California, we're a slightly different situation, but there's no one that I would have trusted more to help us with the transition than Dick. He talked to us for at least 9 months, and I called him all the time and drove him crazy. But I'm trying to make it up to him by being a really good friend.
I didn't have to pay her. She came on her own. But
It's true.
anyway. All right. Well, again, thank you for sharing. I think that some people need to hear your side, especially being 55. A lot of people reach out to me about, oh, it's a bunch of old people. There's not a bunch of old people live here, is there?
You know what? It's not a bunch of old people. We have a friend group, well, I would say over 100 people that we see on the regular that are all in our age group. But ironically, because we're all here for the same reason, our friend group isn't limited to people our age.
No.
Like I told everyone else, where we chose to move, which was a little bit more northern, we didn't move to the newer section. People say, why did you do that? And I said, I wanted mature landscaping and mature neighbors.
There.
And honestly, my neighbors are probably the nicest people I've ever met before. And they're not our age, but they love that new people, younger people, are moving in to the villages. And I will leave you with this final thought. When I told my friends in California that I was moving to a senior community, they said to me, why would you want to do that? I said, first of all, you've never been to the Villages. You'd want to move there too. But secondly, and more importantly, don't remove our opportunity to be the young hot chick one more time.
Okay, I think on that note, we'll call it a day. She was very good today. I was kind of worried, but she did really good. So thanks again, Gigi.
Sure.
All right, bye now.
Bye-bye.